All right, guys, welcome to episode 57 of the Digital Barbell podcast. Thank you each for being here. We appreciate all of our listeners and watchers, whether you're listening to the audio version or watching us on the YouTube. Thanks for being here. We got a really special episode today, something different, something we want to kind of fill you guys in on. But first, let's talk about our sponsor for today.
I didn't tell you. I got an email. We have a last minute sponsor come in.
Oh, okay.
They reached out to me.
Right.
They reached out to me this time.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this is a repeat. I think they were our sponsor back in like sometime in late 2020, but this is big. The city of Boise is our sponsor.
Boise, Idaho, where the potatoes come from.
Expect a truck of potatoes to show up. No, yeah. So today, one of our friends who let us so generously live in their house and experience the great city of Boise, Idaho, is moving one-way ticket, Texas to Boise.
Yeah. It's not that we have two friends that let us live in different houses.
They're a couple.
They're a married couple. And
one of them is going. The house isn't ready. It's a long story, but she is going up to live in Boise, Idaho.
That's exciting.
It's very exciting, and it's going to make me tear up. So
we still have our skis though.
We're going to be going to Boise, Idaho a lot. We're going to be like, knock, 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 we're here.
Do you think our skiing skills will hang on till we ski again?
I mean, if we lived in Boise right now, we wouldn't be skiing at summer. It's like 100 degrees there.
That's a good point. I guess
we haven't missed the season.
I guess I feel like my skills were just about to peak.
Yeah.
And I, kind of got shortchanged.
When the snow melts, you can't ski.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully we pick right back up where we left off on the Black Diamonds.
You might have to take a lesson again.
All right. Well, welcome back to the podcast, Boise, Idaho.
There you go.
All right. So I said that we have a kind of a special episode today. We're going to talk about, we're going to kind of recap our training philosophy. Mm-hmm. We've got some changes coming up within the company, within our programs that we offer. And it kind of ties in with what the core of our business started out as, which centers around what our philosophy to training
Yeah, we talked about this like in podcast 3, I think, of our training philosophy. So it's been a while if you haven't listened to that one, and it's a good refresher for everybody.
Yeah, I think you can kind of sum it up as our approach to training combines the best of strength training, bodybuilding, and CrossFit style workouts to help people build a strong, impressive physique that performs as well as it looks.
Yeah.
We're not just about one thing.
Right.
We're about multiple things because we think that combining that philosophy or using that philosophy gives most people the best results. We're still going to offer custom programs to people who have specific goals, whether that be working around an injury,
training for something specific,
training for a strength, whatever, that kind of thing. But the base of our business is that philosophy, combining those three things.
And that's what we're going to talk about today, because the way we found these three pieces is, we're going to go through that story again and kind of talk about why we chose, like how we found them and why we know that it works. So one thing though, before we start this, is just like I was going to mention this is kind of funny, but literally 2 days ago, I just realized that you don't have to be good at everything. Like I'm talking about like in the workout world.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying this because if you're hearing this and you're like one of our clients and you're like, I don't want anything to change. I like what I'm doing, don't fear like something changing, and don't fear like trying new things, because when you start something or when you try something new, it's going to be hard, and it's okay that things are hard, and it's okay that you're not good at everything, and like doing just the things you're good at. This is why like having a coach is a good thing, because if I would just program for myself, like I would just do the things that I'm good at and not work on my weaknesses. But getting to where you can work on your weaknesses is where you grow, not only like in your strength but in your mindset as well. So what happened the other day is I'm working out with Jonathan. It was a 20-minute workout, and I'm super competitive in my mind. He has no idea, but I mean, like,
I don't even know we're racing.
We start out the workout and he was like 2 reps ahead of me, and I'm like counting it. I'm like, okay, he's 2 reps ahead. I can, and I can shorten my transitions. And then, the next round we're like, I'm like 1 rep behind him, and then by the third round, I'm like 2 reps ahead, and I'm just like building because I'm like shortening my transitions. I'm like rushing through things. He has no idea what's going on. He's over there in his own world, but I start to like really like get ahead. I reached to where I was like almost a round ahead of him by the end of this 20 minutes. And like, I'm thinking to myself, like, what a great workout this is.
I'm winning.
And it's really only because I'm feeling this way because I'm winning the workout, because it's something that like is like for my strengths. If it was a workout that like had some of my weaknesses in it, I would have been falling behind. And I would have, my mindset, instead of being like, man, I'm killing it, this is a great workout, I would have been like starting to go the opposite way. I would have been like, this workout is awful. I'm like, this is the worst day, my mindset would have started to trend the other way. And, we've been watching, I like to watch a lot of like documentary stuff on CrossFit, and I'm sitting there like watching, thinking about some of the stuff I've watched recently. And these people tell these stories of like, this workout I was winning, this workout I was losing. They don't win every workout. They're like the best and the best of this business. And they know that they can't win every workout. You can't be the fastest runner and the strongest deadlifter unless you're Matt Frazier.
You don't have to be.
You don't have to be. You just have to be fairly good at everything. And a big piece of like them being able to compete like this is having the mindset to like keep going when you're not in first place. Like, be positive for that next workout. I don't know why this came to me 2 days ago, but like, I need to be okay with that. Like, I'm not going to be good at every workout we do. Like, if it has burpees in it, Jonathan can cycle through burpees a lot faster. He's going to gain some momentum on me, and it doesn't need to like devastate me in that moment. I need to just like focus on staying where I can stay, trying to get better and cycling them faster, but being okay with losing in that moment.
Yeah, part of being well-rounded is recognizing that you have things that are your strengths and things that are your weaknesses.
Yeah.
It's okay to acknowledge that, and it's okay also to try to work on your weaknesses too, as long as you stay in the right mindset of it being part of the big picture.
Right. Like sometimes, pull-ups sometimes are hard for people, or push-ups, or whatever it is. But like when you see pull-ups come up, it's like, instead of skipping it, or instead of taking the easy way out, or instead of being like, oh, I hate pull-ups, these are the worst, like working on your weakness in that moment is only going to make you stronger, not just physically, but mentally.
Yep. I like that.
Okay. It was a long version of that story. But.
No, it's all good. So we kind of want to recap where we've been.
Yeah.
How did we get to this? How do we get to this point?
Yeah, like I said, we talked about this a lot in episode 3, but the brief summary is, the first thing, like we said, we're going to get back to our roots. Strength training, bodybuilding, and CrossFit style workouts is the best way to achieving just like, your overall health and fitness. So the first thing we found in that group was CrossFit, and we both took to it immediately. This was like back in 2009. And from there, like, I just started to dive into like, I wanted to get as much training in CrossFit as I could. Like, I wanted to start training others and getting as much education in CrossFit as I could. Started training others and just going down the path of like getting educated. And so after doing CrossFit for, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 years, went down the strength training route. So we went to a strength training certification together and found that piece. And so then at this time we were having like a group of friends come over and work out in our garage. So they're coming in and they're doing like a strength lift, like a squat, a back squat, a deadlift, a press, a bench press, something like that. And then they were doing a CrossFit workout together. Jonathan has what?
I was just going to back up a little bit and say that even prior to finding CrossFit in 2009, our friend Chris introduced us to weightlifting in his garage. He had a basic like squat rack, easy curl bar, and some dumbbells, and he taught us the fundamentals of doing squats and doing deadlifts and doing cleans and stuff. Sometimes I'll post some of those videos in our Instagram story. They're pretty hilarious.
They're pretty hilarious.
Squatting in flip-flops.
Flip-flops, like, yeah.
I mean, our form, we didn't really know what we were doing at the time. We knew it was important. We were terrible at it. And there was no ability there, but we had the knowledge. The piece, there was a little bit of the piece of the weightlifting part in our mind at that time. And then there was a lot of things that happened between then and 2009 as far as like group classes and, me running on the elliptical machine at 24 Hour Fitness. But anyway, there was some some things, some fundamental knowledge that before we found CrossFit. And that was just a completely different thing that kind of blew our mind when we first tried that.
It combined that strength element with like moving fast and doing it for time and competing with those in the class around you. And I think that's what, like, we already knew how to use a barbell. That wasn't like a scary thing to us, because the gym we went to, it was like all men's barbells. It was a very like, I think
all CrossFit gyms were pretty basic back then.
And there wasn't a ton of like, here's how you do these things.
Right.
So luckily
we still love you, Steven.
We had some good knowledge. I remember I would go and be like, which one is the snatch again? And oh man, he would get so mad. Oh, you better know what the snatch is. And I was like, But yes.
Sorry I sidetracked you there.
Okay.
I just wanted to give a little bit of the background and why like we took so much to CrossFit, like why we were like, this is something we've never done before.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
I just remembered something about that gym. It's like I don't even know if there was women's barbells back then, like men's barbells.
Why don't you tell people what a women's barbell is?
A men's barbell is 45 pounds standard, and a women's is 35 and has like a smaller diameter for women's hands. He didn't have any women's barbells. I don't even know if they made them back in 2009, but I remember I could not strict press the men's barbell.
Because it weighed 45 pounds.
Because it weighed 45 pounds.
Couldn't get that sucker
I couldn't do it, yeah.
What's your press now?
Oh. I don't even know, but
let's go test it after this.
Just about double that, but that's all.
That's not
it's
bad.
Not my strongest movement. But anyway, like that, I just remember that being a thing that I couldn't strict press that. I don't remember what he had me do. But
probably dumbbells.
Maybe. I don't remember dumbbells in that gym. I guess there was
there were some old metal dumbbells in the corner. Anyway, I really sidetracked us there.
That's okay.
But so you got us up until the point where we had done CrossFit.
We had done CrossFit.
For 5
I was
or 6
already
years.
coaching CrossFit. I was coaching. I had coached at Rice, and then I coached at another gym. And then we were having a group of friends come over, and we were doing from the strength certification we went to. We really learned that using linear progression is the best way for beginners or those just ready to like add strength to go about it. Do 3 sets of 5 reps at the same weight. Add weight next time you do it if your form is perfect. So we were implementing this with our friends. We would come over, we would do something, a squat, a press, a deadlift, and then we would do a CrossFit workout. Yeah,
it's almost like that seminar opened our eyes to the potential, even outside of CrossFit, of building your strength rapidly.
And honestly, really opened Jonathan's eyes about building strength. Like I remember back in the days before we went there, he was just in the CrossFit gym. Like if it was his back squat day, he'd be like, I put 185 on. And that was like, every time he squatted, he put 185 on. And that's what he did. This is what I squat, 185.
I think if you were to walk into like so many Globo gyms right now and walk up to somebody like, hey, what's your workout? They're like, well, on Mondays I do legs at 3 sets of 10 at 185.
Yeah, at the same weight. There's never like an increase. There's never a progression. It's just like, this is what I do, this day. And that's kind of what your mindset was. And this guy convinced you that you can be strong and you can add strength to your body.
Right.
And I think that was the first time you had that mindset shift about that. So he was on a mission. He like, when people would come over to our house, he was only doing the starting strength training method. He was, and it you want to talk?
Yeah. I mean, it works.
It worked.
We found it works.
Yeah.
That's all I can really say. For a new person or somebody who just hasn't followed a well-written, like she said, linear progression strength program, you will increase your strength rapidly if you follow the program.
So you're getting close to where you're doing 3 sets of 5 in the high 200s, approaching that like 300 pound at this time, I think, right?
I made it all doing 3x5 twice a week, which was I did the novice program.
Yeah.
I went from starting my work sets probably at about 205 pounds, and I didn't miss a 3x5 until I got to 305 pounds.
Yeah.
So my strength, and at that time, my 1 rep max went from probably about 275 pounds to 370 pounds.
That's amazing.
Just in a 3 to 4 month period. So that proved to us that there's something to throwing some serious attention to strength training, even for the general population.
For sure. But you ended up tearing a glute muscle, right? Somewhere in this process. Somewhere in this process. So he was not able to do the starting strength or the CrossFit. But our friends were still coming over, so he wasn't just going to sit inside. he wanted to do something. And my brother had been a personal trainer back at some point and did a lot of bodybuilding. And Jonathan reached out to him and was like, hey, I want to do something. These are the things I can't do. I want to kind of get into some bodybuilding. Literally, like, I think at that time it was like, especially in the CrossFit world, it was like, you don't bodybuild. We don't do curls. CrossFit is really all about functional movement. And that's great.
It's kind of funny because the starting strength community was very anti-CrossFit.
Yeah.
And CrossFit was very anti-bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So we just put them all together to make everybody bad.
It's true.
But yeah, you're
so
right.
you started doing some bodybuilding in the garage with all of us. And I think people started to take notice that his body actually started to change. We started to see like physical changes in him that, like, we've all been doing CrossFit and strength training forever, but he's like starting to actually like look different. So we're like, there's something to this bodybuilding thing. So now when our friends are coming over, we're doing our strength. We're doing a few sets of bodybuilding, like some curls, some rows, some tricep extensions.
Really basic stuff, yeah.
And then we're all doing a CrossFit workout. And we're starting to see as time goes by, like how this is like changing us all. It
was changing us both, like, physically, and we were like, we liked doing it.
Yeah.
Like, the actual process of not just doing the boring strength training,
Right.
not just doing curls in the mirror, and not just like crushing ourselves with
a CrossFit workout every day. Yeah.
It was an enjoyable thing.
It was.
Like 5 days a week.
Yeah. And that's the big piece of it, the longevity of it for everybody. We started to see that. And so this is nearing the time that I started to try at CrossFit. And then we were able to then end up moving that model over to try at CrossFit, like kind of like, sticking with like mostly CrossFit workouts, but adding the strength element, of course, and adding some bodybuilding classes in there for fun. And
I think one thing to bring up is, like, I remember this when you owned Triad, was you didn't ever want to like move heavy dumbbells around the gym. You'd be like, hey, can you come move this 50 across the room? Yeah,
there was a time where when I was owning the gym, Jonathan and a friend of ours they would work out in the morning together, and they would come to the CrossFit gym later that day. So in the morning they did bodybuilding, and Jonathan was always like, try this bodybuilding, and I was like, no. I didn't want to have anything to do with it because like you said, I had after my back injury, I was like comfortable moving a barbell. A barbell is a straight line. It doesn't deviate from a path, and it felt very safe to me. But picking up a pair of dumbbells, they're in each hand, it can move, it can kind of pull your body in different directions. I was very uncomfortable with that. So I think I did like a set of curls or a set of something, and I was like, nope, I don't like how this feels. Maybe like some dumbbell rows. I was like, nope, I don't like how this feels. It doesn't feel safe to me. I'm not doing it. And then I think like kind of time kept going on, and you kept being like, try this. And I'm like, I would try it. I'd be like, nope. And then I think I finally like kind of gave in. And fast forward to where like I'm using dumbbells primarily to work out, and I'm feeling more comfortable like moving heavy dumbbells around the gym. It would be like from the 20s all the way, before, if like somebody in my gym had left a pair of 50-pound dumbbells on the floor, not that I was not capable of lifting a barbell with 100 pounds on it, but I never would have picked those dumbbells up because it didn't feel like a safe position for my back. Now it's not a question for me. And that has not only like transferred from like I'm okay with dumbbells, but to other things in life, like carrying suitcases like through the airport, or loading a suitcase that's heavy from the floor up above my head into like a car or something, like things like that I was not comfortable doing. I really attribute like the bodybuilding type piece, because I was able to move like awkward objects around.
Yeah, you did a lot of different stuff that you hadn't done before.
Like the CrossFit gives you the functional movement at high intensity, but I was staying in my lane with just the barbell. I wasn't getting into like the sandbags and moving like odd objects, which I do believe is really helpful in real life situations.
Yeah.
But for me, I wasn't comfortable with that due to my injury.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I guess we kind of touched on some of this already, but let's kind of recap what we pull out of all three of these and how we combine them into what we think is an effective training program for our peeps.
Yeah.
So we talked about the main benefit of the strength training is that people who aren't strong or who haven't followed a structured strength program before get rapidly stronger quickly.
Specifically like a linear strength program where you're doing like we said, like 3 sets of probably around 5 reps at the same weight, adding weight each time you're successful and your form is like 100%.
Yep. And the benefit of doing that is it builds your overall full body strength. It builds muscle size. It builds a lot of mental toughness too.
It does.
Because as the weight gets heavier and heavier, you start to wonder.
Yeah.
And you have to overcome that heavy barbell. So there's definitely a mental strength component to strength training also. And then from the bodybuilding, we found that if you're not doing any kind of bodybuilding, just doing strength training or just doing CrossFit, there's the chance that your muscles are going to kind of outpace the ability for your tendons to adapt, and you may end up with more overuse injuries, tendonitis, and that kind of stuff.
This is mainly in people who have gone from like not really lifting weights, not really moving barbell loads on barbells to starting to do it and then rapidly increasing their weight.
Yeah. And since a lot of bodybuilding exercises are done in higher volume, you're building a lot of that connective tissue strength. Yeah. So that's one of the benefits along with that comes along with the bodybuilding. And let's not ignore the obvious elephant in the room when it comes to bodybuilding is it builds muscle size and helps you build a physique that actually makes you look like you work out. You know, like I was rapidly getting stronger with the strength training, but like walking down the street didn't really look like somebody who worked out. I mean, so we pull the strength benefit out of the strength training and then making you actually look like you're strong from the bodybuilding. It's just a fact.
It's true.
And that's a piece of CrossFit that I think frustrates some people also, is that if you only do CrossFit, you might get incredibly fit, and we'll talk about the other benefits of that too, but you might not see the physical changes that you were expecting. You're certainly not going to end up looking like one of the people at the CrossFit games if you just do CrossFit. There is a large
casual CrossFit, like once a day,
right,
for 4 to 5 times a week.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to get that from just doing CrossFit. The aesthetic doesn't always follow this just doing CrossFit 5 times a week. And then another thing about the bodybuilding is, since it builds muscle mass in all the exercises that you're doing, you're stoking your metabolism too. You're building more of that metabolically active muscle tissue that keeps you eating more calories without gaining fat. And, it helps stave off dependence on other people as you get older, because you're just adding to the amount of strength that you have. Yeah. And all that extra volume in the bodybuilding translates back to your strength movements too, because you're building the muscle that moves the barbell on your squats and your deadlifts and your presses. So you're going to get stronger on your compound lifts from a result of the bodybuilding also. And
you're also going to move weights in lines that you might not see in strength training and in CrossFit. We do a lot of like overhead pressing, but we don't ever do any pulling.
Weighted pulling.
Like weighted pulling.
Yeah, so maybe deadlifts and cleans, but you can get some imbalances without a more well-rounded approach, like physically and structurally. Like, you can overdevelop your pushing muscles, which can lead to more shoulder pain in the front of the shoulder, that kind of stuff. So like you said, you're going to do different things in bodybuilding that help you build all around balanced strength and physique. What else you got?
Oh, well, then there's the CrossFit piece.
Yeah.
So this is where we're going to, CrossFit is constantly varied functional movement executed at high intensity. So, adding these functional movements is what's going to like show us how to move in everyday life, like how to squat down to a chair, how to pick something off the floor, how to like push something over our head, doing it correctly so we're not going to get injured. Adding that high intensity piece is where the magic happens. Like learning how to move well at high intensity is where you're really going to see both the physical changes in your body and what we talk about all the time, the mindset changes. Like doing something hard, fast, how you feel after that is, I've repeatedly talked about this, like
the euphoria.
Yeah. Like you just gain this confidence that I have never seen in doing any other type of sport. Yeah. Like,
I think like CrossFit and CrossFit style workouts, they teach you more like what your actual limits are.
Yeah. What you're capable of.
How to push your body. And that feeds back into the mental toughness side of things too. Like you could probably go have that hard meeting with
Yeah.
your boss if you can really push yourself when you're out of breath on a set of thrusters. Like,
Yeah.
it translates over.
Just like in our like workouts, like say the way I write the workouts, like in something like the finisher where it's just like 3 rounds for quality. You know, you're doing things, you're making sure you're moving for quality, but you're not really moving for time, and you're not like pushing yourself to like a capacity that's like uncomfortable. The point is to just like get the higher volume and reps. But when it's like as many rounds as possible for 12 minutes of these 2 or 3 movements, practice it 3, 2, 1, go. Push yourself as hard as you can for 12 minutes. There is a shift that goes on in your mind of like, this is awful. I can't do this, to like, I just did this. And wow, I didn't realize I was capable of that.
Yeah.
Repeat that on months, years. You're a different person in your mind than you were when you started.
I think the way that the CrossFit part of our training translates over to life a lot is just like helping you to apply this stuff that you've gained from all 3 to your regular life, like you just said. Like, I think about our deck in our backyard. It's not low to the ground. It's probably 2.5, 3 feet off the ground. I'm turning 43 next week. Not that that's old, but I don't know that if I didn't do the type of training that I did, I would feel comfortable jumping up and down from that deck. I mean, we have people come over here and they're like, "Whoa, this deck is high," and like, "Where's the lowest place to get off this thing?"
Yeah.
and I don't think twice. I just jump up there or jump down.
Yeah.
Like, it helps translate all this, the benefit you get from all your training into being athletic in your real life.
Right.
Like picking up that heavy thing and putting it in the back of your car.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. It's the translation of function, strength and fitness to functional life.
Yeah. And helps you hopefully not get injured when you're doing these things. Like you were installing that fan and you had the confidence of like standing on a ladder, holding something above your head, and manipulating, because you both knew how to like position your body to not get hurt, and you felt like you had the strength to do it.
Yeah, that's a great point. That fan was tough, man. I'm not going to lie. I got one more to hang too.
Gosh.
Hopefully I learned a few things from doing the first one. I'll make the
hopefully.
second one even easier. So do we want to talk about it, like how we apply this more throughout a week of training maybe, or just in general?
Yeah.
Like, how does all this stuff like fit into people that we work with?
Yeah.
Exercise.
So in general, like our general like programming would be 5 days a week. It would be no more than 3 workouts in a row without a rest day. So that it could either be like 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, or 2 on, 1 off, 3 on, however it works best for your schedule. We every day, I think it's important in a workout program to give people a warm up, because just like if you're following something, even when in the warm up is a very important piece. It gets your body ready, it gets your heart rate up, it gets your body warm. It also gives you a little extra volume. So walking into a workout but not knowing how to warm your body up, I think is like a missing piece. So I make sure that we have a good warm up that translates to the workout that we're going to do. We prioritize our strength first, because it's going to be the heaviest load we're going to move that day, and we want to make sure that we're the freshest for that piece. We then incorporate anywhere from like 2 to 5 bodybuilding accessory type movements after that strength piece, both to add volume, muscle size, all the things we've been talking about. And then we finish the day with either like a CrossFit style conditioning workout or our signature finishers, which is something that combines like, some more bodybuilding, some glute work, and some core work. We're just focused on one thing. We try to just do about, on average, 2 to 3 CrossFit style workouts a week. We think that's a really good, volume dosage to like give you the benefits of the cardiovascular endurance without wearing your body down, and just keep you going, keep you training week after week after week.
Yeah. There's this like term called the minimum effective dose. And that's the goal, is to give you the minimum effective dose of all 3 of these different styles.
Yeah.
To keep you interested, keep you training consistently, and keep you making progress.
Yeah.
I want to bring up 2 things on what you just talked about. In the bodybuilding part, there's a lot of people in the gyms that are like, quote, doing bodybuilding and not making progress because they're not periodizing their programming within that. So that's an important part of making sure that we're getting people the bodybuilding result, is we tell them okay, here's where your weight is. Here's the weight you're going to use. It's going to be different for every person, and here's how you make progress. Like there's a lot of people, doing their routine
by using like the hard sets.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. So we use the hard set model.
So something you can do because it's different for everybody. Something you can do at least 8 reps and no more than like 12 to 15, depending on the movement. So if by rep 9 is hard, that's a good place to start, and then hopefully you'll progress throughout that. And then once you get to that, like I can do 15 reps with this weight, it's time to move up in your weight.
Yeah.
So that allows you to like know what weight to use, how hard to push. Like we don't want you doing 50 reps of a dumbbell row in one set.
You've missed the point.
Yeah, you've missed the point of that. So that's kind of giving you that range helps you judge what you're supposed to be using.
Yeah, just like you said, the magic of the results from CrossFit come from the intensity. The same thing comes with the strength and bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So that's why we want to be working at a certain percentage of our maximum capacity.
Yeah.
That's one of the secrets to results in that. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up was you mentioned the 2 to 3 conditioning workouts per week.
Yeah.
And then within those, it's important to mix up the intensity of those and also mix up the time domain of them, because our body has different energy systems it uses to do stuff throughout the day.
Yeah. Some examples are just like, like an 8 to 12 minute workout versus like a 20 plus minute workout. That'll be you'll be running at 2 different types of intensity during those workouts, as well as like something where like the person writing the workout controls the rest. That even adds a different element of intensity, because then you're really, you're working for like anywhere from like 1 to 4 minutes at like more of like a sprint pace, and then you're resting for a certain time.
Right.
So mixing all of these elements helps you improve your cardiovascular endurance, and not just like staying, okay, every time you hit a conditioning workout, it's 12 minutes. We're not the same thing as like if we never added that weight to that 185 bar, we're not improving.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a great summary.
Yeah.
It's been a cool evolution for us, and we really feel like if we hadn't found this path, and if our path hadn't led us to combining all 3 of these in the way that we have, like we wouldn't be as fit, we wouldn't enjoy our training as much, we wouldn't stay as injury free as we do, and the same thing translates over to our clients now.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any questions on this, or if it doesn't make sense, feel free to send us a message too, and we're happy to explain it more. But like I said, the reason we did this episode is because we have some changes coming up in our company and to our program, so make sure you stay tuned for that. If you guys aren't on our mailing list, that's where we always tell people of any things that are happening first. So I'll put a link in the description of this podcast to that. But as always, thank you guys for tuning in. We hope you have a good rest of your day.